Number 7. Honda Prelude, first gen, 1978 to 1982. Honda hyped up the first Prelude like it was the brand's entry into the sporty coupe scene. A car that could blend Honda engineering with the sleek aspirations of a Japanese Grand Tourer. And on the surface, it worked. A long hood, a sloping fastback rear, and even an optional sunroof made it look like something built to chase Celicas and early Supras. Slide inside and the dashboard wrapped around you in a cockpit-style layout that whispered performance. The problem was, when you turned the key, it whispered a little too softly. Under the hood sat engines borrowed from the Accord, including a 1.6 and eventually a 1.84 cylinder. Smooth and reliable, sure, but they made barely over 70 to 90 horsepower. That meant the Prelude had the body of a sports coupe and the heart of a commuter car. To make things worse, weight was creeping up thanks to safety gear and luxury touches. So even if you pushed it, the Prelude preferred cruising boulevards to attacking corners. In America, it was never banned, but strict emissions choked the already small engines, leaving overseas fans with slightly less strangled versions. For all its style and ambition, the Prelude's first act was less symphony and more background music. Number 6. Isuzu 117 Coupe, 1968 to 1977. The Isuzu 117 Coupe is a perfect example of how looks can deceive. Penned by Giorgetto Giugiaro, the Italian design master who shaped icons like the Lotus Esprit and BMW M1, the 111-7 was stunning. Low belt line, sweeping roof, delicate proportions. It looked ready to share a garage with the world's best Grand Tourers. Buyers expected a little Ferrari flavor at a fraction of the price. What they got was polite. Power came from a range of small four-cylinder engines, and while the later twin-cam versions were respectable, most 70s models had outputs that barely cracked 110 horsepower. The car was heavier than rivals, and performance figures hovered in the 12 to 14 seconds for 0 to 60 miles per hour territory, far behind the promise its looks made. Japan's stricter emissions rules in the mid-70s made things worse, forcing Isuzu to detune its engines until the 117 looked sporty but drove like a secretary's company car. In export markets, limited dealer support and expensive parts made it a nightmare to keep on the road, so regulators didn't need to ban it. The market quietly did the job. It remains one of those cars people still drool over in photos but shrug at in motion. Number 5. Toyota Crown 2600, 2800, 60 series, mid-1970s. By the mid-70s, Toyota's Crown had cemented its reputation as Japan's executive express. With the S60 generation, Toyota wanted to push it further into the luxury lane, offering straight-six engines up to 2.8 liters and interiors filled with plush velour, wood-like trim, and gadgets that rivaled Cadillacs of the era. On paper, this could have been a sleeper sedan, a discreet four-door with enough muscle to surprise unsuspecting drivers. But reality had other plans. Despite the displacement increase, the Crown was a heavy car weighed down with comfort features, thicker bumpers, and the ever-tightening grip of global emissions standards. Output dropped to as low as 120 to 130 horsepower in many export markets, which was barely enough to move its bulk with grace, let alone speed. In the United States, stricter safety rules forced Toyota to abandon Crown sales after the mid-70s, making it effectively banned by regulation. In Europe, high fuel prices made the thirsty straight-six unattractive. What could have been Toyota's luxury sleeper turned into a cushy barge that never made good on its discreet promise of power. It excelled as a chauffeured car, but failed to excite anyone behind the wheel. Number 4. Nissan Bluebird U, 610, 1971 to 1976. The Bluebird U was Nissan's attempt to give their bread-and-butter sedan a more international flavor. With swoopy Coke bottle styling and a longer body, it looked like a scaled-down American muscle car parked in a Tokyo alley. Buyers expected a touch of sporty flair, especially since U stood for upscale, and Nissan offered versions dressed with chrome, vinyl roofs, and bucket seats. But the performance never quite matched the presentation. Engines range from small 4 cylinders to a 2.0 inline-6. But emissions equipment in export markets strangled the power and turned the car into more of a soft cruiser than a backroad hero. In Japan, stricter weight and size taxes kept the bigger engines out of reach for most buyers, so plenty of Bluebird U sedans ended up with wheezy little 4s. In the US, the Datsun 610 was sold as a sporty alternative to a Toyota Corona, but it was heavier than the outgoing 510 and far less agile. Nissan enthusiasts who fell in love with the rally-winning 510 were left scratching their heads at the 610's softer ride and slower reflexes. Instead of a sleeper with hidden talent, it turned into a sedan that slept through its own promises.